Hello there, I'm MountPain27 and this is Dean of Doom, the show where we give grades to classic and contemporary Doom wads. Why? Because ranking things is fun. Today's episode will be dedicated to Sigil, a 9-level spiritual continuation of the Ultimate Doom designed by John Romero himself. Outside of 2 knee-deep in the dead level remakes, Romero hadn't designed a Doom map since 1995's Thy Flesh Consumed, but the positive reception to those remakes prompted him to create Sigil, which was released in 2019 and loosely intended to coincide with Doom's 25th anniversary. Sigil was big news in the Doom community and the video game world in general, but was met with mixed reception upon release. Romero designed these maps for limit-removing ports, but restricted himself to stock Doom assets and monsters, which is important to keep in mind while appraising this wad. I'll be playing the latest version of Sigil, v1.21, which if you played or watched any gameplay of the original release, you'll find that the update is a little more charitable with monster placements and chain guns. Also, I'm gonna have to disappoint the Buckethead fans because we're not going to use his soundtrack. I like Buckethead, but to me, his tunes just don't quite jive with Doom, and the midis, courtesy of my man Jimmy Paddock, are too good to pass up. You'll see. Before we dive in, here's how the show works. We'll give each level on the wad 2 grades, one for quality and one for difficulty. We grade quality from A to F and difficulty from X to E. X for extreme, E for easy, and A through D in between. A grade A level is fun, memorable, visually distinctive, creative, and a fair challenge. Lower grades indicate that the level lacks some or all of these qualities. Bear in mind that I'm not Zero Master, or any kind of master really, and these are just my opinions, so our definition of difficulty and great map design will surely differ. Disagreeing is part of the fun, after all. At the end of the day, the purpose of this show is to spread the joy of Doom, so let's do so. For those of you new to the show, here are the rules. 1. We play on ultraviolence. 2. We play each level from a pistol start. 3. In order to review the wad, I must have played it at least twice. In Sigil's case, it's probably more like 6 or 7 times. 4. Saves are allowed but discouraged. And 5. I go for 100% kills in all levels, making exceptions in cases where it's just not worth it. I play on Z-Doom with compatibility settings on strict. Now to the wad. E5M1. Baphomet's Domain. What a way to start. Ankle deep in blood, shotgun in front of you, standing in the center of a pentagram. Like all great opening maps, Baphomet's Domain sets the aesthetic tone for the episode, foreshadows the challenges you'll face, and offers survival tips to observant players. Word of the wise, find the secrets, as many as you can, and you'll need to get acclimated to not having a lot of room to run around. That's here to stay. Some people have trouble with this last room, probably because they didn't find the chain gun. Jimmy's midis are so goddamn good I could spotlight him in every level, but I'll limit myself to 3, starting with this one. Don't tell John I said this, but Sigil just would not be the same without this soundtrack. Grade, B+, difficulty, D-. E5M2, Sheol. You might start off thinking Sheol is a can of corn. Come on, 42 monsters? That all you got? I can do this in my sleep. Watch, I'll even punch out this Baron of Hell. See? Easy. Hold on, is that a cyber demon? I'll tell you right now, Sigil levels with cyber demons outnumber Sigil levels without 2 to 1. Say what you like about John Romero, the man can place a wicked cyber demon. Like in E4M2, your only option here is telefragging it, which always takes me a few tries. None of the other encounters in this level pose a real problem, including the last squad of heavies. Get them to infight and your work is done. Sheol's not the worst, but Romero does better work later. Grade, C+, difficulty, C. E5M3, Cages of the Damned. I'm not sure what's more edgy, the titles of these maps or the Necrovol section in Doom Eternal.
Necrovol, the city of the damned.
Yeah, definitely Doom Eternal. Cages of the Damned is one of the lighter levels in Sigil. The early chain gun helps with hit scanners throughout, but there's no easy way past these cages full of damned imps. The narrow walkways make dodging inconvenient, but falling in the lava is even more inconvenient. You can jump onto the cliffside for an extra rad suit that you ought not waste like I did, because Romero forces you to trudge through poisoned blood till you reach this overcrowded bridge section, where you won't have much wiggle room. Overall, not one of Sigil's most memorable levels. Grade, C+, difficulty, D+. E5M4, Paths of Wretchedness. Romero manages to turn a great concept into a bit of a frustration factory here. You've got 3 paths, 3 keys, and 3 different sources of aggravation. Or something like that. The middle path is the hardest, and I like to grab a secret and vulnerability down the right path to make it more tolerable. It's a river of lava that you can only ford by scooting from rock to sinking rock. Make sure you've grabbed a rocket launcher before you go this route. I don't know of any other way to deal with these big boys reliably. The most annoying part is you'll probably have to make a trip back here because the monster AI isn't very good at tracking you, and some of them will get stuck in the yellow key cave. This crusher section on the right path is slow, but not as bad as everybody says, except that it blots out the music, which is once again heart-pounding and awesome. up. The left path isn't too bad. You might start running out of ammo here if you're not actively trying to chainsaw stuff. You can finally relax when you grab the chain gun, because the rest of the level can be mopped up with relative ease. Fair warning, without the rocket launcher and careful resource management, it's very hard to 100% this one. Grade B, difficulty B-. E5M5, Abaddon's Void. This is one heck of a level, an underlit and foreboding demonic stakeout in the middle of an ocean of lava, 2 cyber demons standing sentinel in the dark. Romero forces you to work deliberately here. You'll be shimmying along tight ledges, staving off close-quarters demons, and generally holding your breath. Romero does a great job with the visuals here, especially lighting-wise, and I think it's one of the best marriages of music and design you'll find in this WAD. In the first version of this level, you didn't get a chain gun, which was a bit of a sadistic choice, although having it doesn't make ammo any less scarce. To remedy that, fist as many demons as you can. This last room with the fleshy walls is not some player's cup of tea, but I like it. Abaddon's Void is a good one. Grade A-, difficulty B. E5M6, Unspeakable Persecution. This level is just pain. Before you even get a chance to hate this level, it hates you so much more. It starts with the lighting. There are sections of this level so low lit that I can hardly even show you. This part where you're stumbling around looking for an eye switch, it feels like a miracle every time I find the secret BFG, which is mandatory, by the way. As dark as this map is, I'm only complaining about it from a gameplay perspective, because it's easily one of Sigil's best looking maps. The cracks in the floor, the flashing lights, the architecture, this opening room is a work of art. Problem is, you're not allowed to enjoy it. If you don't trick the cacodemons into waking up early in this room, the lights go out when you drop in and it becomes a miserable fight. Later on, there's a secret invincibility which you are definitely going to want for this fight. And finally, the maze. Holy f***. You've got hit scanners and imps on the wall tops bothering you, pinkies blocking you every which way, and there's a cyber demon roaming around in there. I can probably name a harder single cyber encounter that I've beaten, but this one is the most infuriating. The layout of the maze makes it really hard to stick him up close with a BFG. You're gonna have about 5 shots max, and the thing that irks me the most? The walls are ribbed. It's not decorative. Romero knew what he was doing. It's designed to get you stuck when you're trying to maneuver away from this absolute bastard. Like I said, the man can place a wicked cyber demon. This map burns me up. Grade D-, difficulty A. E5M9, Realm of Iblis. This one will grind you up if you try to rush through the start. The hit scanners are deceptively deadly, and the Baron and Cacos can overwhelm you if you don't get them to infight. The middle section doesn't feel fleshed out enough, lacking the sense of place you get from other areas in Sigil, and these mini crushers feel irrelevant. Don't miss the secret plasma gun, you'll need it for the cyber demon in the fortress at the end. He's nowhere near as deadly as the one from last level, but he can tag you when you're trying to grab the rocket launcher or when you're parkouring on the battlements trying to shoot the secret switch. I'm not sure what earned Realm of Iblis its secret level slot, but it's a solid level nonetheless. Grade B-, difficulty B-. E5M7, Nightmare Underworld. Easily the most Sigil level of Sigil, Nightmare Underworld is top-shelf John Romero. Compared to the rest of Sigil, this map offers a plentiful variety of encounters. It really feels like a comprehensive recap of the first 7 levels gameplay-wise. I especially like getting revenge on this helpless cyber demon for what his cousin did to me in map 6. This map also holds up well aesthetically. I love this jagged crater that belches cacodemons, this hellish cave with its stalactites and hanging corpses, and this really subtle chasm reference. Nightmare Underworld benefits from one of Jimmy Paddock's more experimental midis. The level and the song share a menacing kind of swagger that's hard to put into words. As much as I like the rest of it, I have to call out this map for its ending. If you've played it, you'll know immediately what I'm talking about. This finicky area with the vine-covered walls and floating enemies cannot be rushed through, because if you fall, the super lava down there will chew you up in seconds. I don't even want to think about how many saveless runs of this level have ended in death by rock climbing. This last room is also a bit rude, but it used to be even more so. In addition to the Cacos and hit scanners, Sigil V1 placed 2 Barons behind the last door instead of 1. Nightmare Underworld is Sigil in a nutshell. It's got flaws, but also personality to spare. Grade B+. Difficulty B. E5M8, Halls of Perdition. I'm here to put an end to the myth that this map is bland and disappointing. I mean, what were people expecting? A new boss monster? From start to finish, Halls of Perdition absolutely slaps. Blast your way out of prison, rip your way through this demonic outpost where the ground is literally splitting open, and finally jump down into the dark exit corridor to do battle with a double dose of Ultimate Doom bosses. Crushing the last clutch of demons that ambushes you before the exit, coupled with this absolutely kick-ass MIDI, is one of the few final encounters in Doom that still makes me feel like a hero. the best finale I've ever played? Of course not. But it blows the endings of the first 4 episodes of Doom out of the water, and feels like it ends on a high note, which I really can't say for most megawads that I play. Grade A-, difficulty C+. So, Sigil is fascinating. It appeals to such a small niche that its very release ran the risk of looking like hackwork to the people it was trying to entertain. Sure, people still play classic Doom, but it takes a pretty die-hard fan to know about and appreciate Sigil. High expectations were inevitable, and I think the consensus is that Romero almost fulfilled them, which is a real achievement, especially for what Sigil is, a Doom 1 WoD that sometimes goes out of its way to alienate you. The fact that I, and many others, still like it must mean that on some level it's something special. At the very least, Sigil bears the signature of an old master and sports the soundtrack of a much younger one. My final grade for Sigil is a B. It's sometimes cruel, but never boring, and it'll make you a better player. As for difficulty, I'll give it a C+. It hovers just above TNT Evolution, but it can't hang with Plutonia or most modern megawads pound for pound. Now for my Dean's List. Valedictorian, E5M5, Abaddon's Void. Salutatorian, E5M8, Halls of Perdition. Class President, E5M6, Unspeakable Persecution. And the dunce cap goes to that Cyberdemon in the Maze. God damn. Thank you very much for watching, and please feel free to share your thoughts on the WoD in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. This is Mount Pain 27, and I'll see you in the next episode of Dean of Doom.